Morphy. He's going to speak about his icebreaker today.
Please
Welcome
welcome.
back from France.
Thank you.
Two of us welcome back anyway.
Good morning, my fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am very, very, very happy to be here today. I always recommend opening the speech with that line. Kind of lets the audience know you like them. Be glad to do it. Why am I talking about? My speech today is a bit of an icebreaker. It's a partial icebreaker. I can't tell you all about myself today, but there's a little part of me that people ask me about every once in a while. They say, "Are you French?" And I explain, well, I have a lot of relatives in France. But no, I'm not really. I might have 2% French. Everybody has various little percentages of everything. But I tend to go to France about once every 5 years. And I tend to have French guests at my home about once every year. And the reason for that is that my grandmother had a sister. My grandmother was one of 13 children. She was born in Singapore, along with all of her siblings. Her father, John Lloyd, ran a shipping company in Singapore. This was in the second half of the 19th century, the 1860s, 70s, 80s. At the time, Singapore was a British colony, and you might have referred to it as the crossroads of the British Empire. Many different lines of shippable goods came through, and people from all over the world passed through Singapore for various reasons. Now, my grandfather was born in Ireland, in Killarney. Eventually, he educated himself and eventually became a journalist, and he traveled the world. He came to California, he worked for William Randolph Hearst. He was sent to China to cover the Boxer Rebellion. They had a little dispute about money and delivering stories, and so he got fired, and he got fired while he was in China, and they don't bring you home, they just leave you there. So he made it to the Khyber Pass as an independent journalist covering the British military, and eventually he ended up in Singapore, where he met this Annie Ruth Lloyd, and eventually they got married. So Annie and Edward ended up in California. But Annie's youngest sister, her name is Claire. There in the crossroads of the British Empire, Claire ran into a Frenchman named Pierre Barrière, whom she married, and they ended up in France, of course. Claire had 4 children. They were all my father's first cousins. One of them had 5 children, one of them had 4 children, one of them had 7 children. So I have 16 second cousins
Oh my goodness.
who live in France. Now, oh, good. These people are quite cosmopolitan, and they love, for some reason, they love coming to California and San Francisco. There seems to be a French flair and flavor about San Francisco that the French people like, so they come. And about once every year, I get an email or a phone call. One of my children is coming over, can you show them around? Of course, of course. Certainement. So As I've told you before, I'm an Oakland boy trapped in the body of a Martinez man. Lived in Martinez for 28 years, and I like entertaining the French people. Normally we go pick them up wherever they are. We take them on a routine tour through San Francisco, starting at Fort Funston to watch the hang gliders flying over the ocean. And working our way up to the Cliff House, the Golden Gate, through the Presidio, Nob Hill, North Beach. It's a standard tour. We get it the same way every time. We end up at various restaurants along the way. And they love it. But what they love most is on another day coming out to Martinez, dining in our backyard, and going down to Main Street for a little music at Armando's nightclub. That's the flavor of Martinez, and that's what I hear about from my French cousins. Either when they write back, or as recently when I visited France, I met several groups of cousins who had all been to Martinez and are all raving about Martinez in San Francisco.